name is Will Mitchell, and for the past 10 years I've been selling pretty much nothing else but folding and sliding doors. And during that time I've sold to architects, developers, builders, boat builders, folding and door companies, window and door companies, and most importantly the people that get to live with the doors. When I first attended an exhibition such as this 10 years ago, we had the only set of folding doors at that show. Yes, there was such a time, and I still learn something new every day, but I've had more questions than most about folding and sliding doors. So I certainly know what's important to people when deciding upon these systems, and I know what the important questions to ask are. There'll be time afterwards for a few questions probably by the side, and I'm available after the presentation if you've got any questions then. So, important questions. There's two main questions that I get asked when people are looking for folding and sliding doors. Firstly, what is your sight line? So the sight line, very important. The sight line is basically the section where the doors are closed together. How big is the bit of frame that I'm going to be looking at? Because everyone wants the slimmest frame possible to maximise the light coming in, to maximise your view obviously as well. And obviously a very important question to ask. But just remember, when you are looking at sight lines, when you see the sight line quotes on the websites, or you get someone telling you the sight line, just make sure that is the sight line that you're going to receive when you're ordering your doors. You can certainly have section details of the door system, so make sure that you get section detail of the doors you're actually ordering. Generally, folding doors, if you're having all in one direction, all the sight lines are going to be the same size. But if there's a division somewhere, even with sliding doors as well, opening from the centre, that sight line is going to be bigger than the rest. So not a major issue, but just make sure that you're aware when you're ordering the doors, what your sight lines you're actually going to receive are going to be, so you find out at that stage, rather than when you're having the doors installed. So get the section details. And second most popular question I get asked is, what is your U value? Now, U value is the measurement of heat loss. So how thermal efficient are your door systems? How good are they at keeping the heat inside the property? And the U value, building regulation stipulates the U value must be no more than 1.8, so the lower the number the better. So 1.6 U value is good, 1.4 even better, but make sure you're getting the overall frame and glass U value, not just the centre pane U value or the glass U value, because that's generally the better one, but you need the overall frame and glass U value. And also make sure, if you get quoted a U value, that may be based on triple glazing, but you may have been quoted for the double glazing. So just make sure you're getting quoted the accurate overall U value of the door system. So they're the two most popular questions I get asked, U value and sight line. However, there's another question that I wish was asked just as much as those two, which is, how weather tight are your doors? You might have found your super duper hardly there sight line and thermally efficient doors which really keep the heat inside the building, but that's only half the story if you don't know what the weather test results are going to be. It might be a drafty door but have a U value of 0.5. So there's two tests that door systems have on them for weather tightness. Firstly, air permeability. And this is tested by putting air pressure against the door system, and this air pressure is increased until it starts to leak air. And this unit of pressure is measured in pascals, so the higher the number the better. So you could get a test of 50 pascals of air pressure before it leaked, which would be terrible, or up to 600 pascals, which is the best that I've seen for a door's air tightness. Secondly, you've got water resistance, and exactly the same as the air test, you've got water pressure against the door system, and that pressure is increased until the door system starts to leak water. So again, it's measured in pascals, so 50 pascals would be terrible, up to 900 pascals, which is the best that I've ever seen, which is when I think the test stops as well for that. So you can get two results, you've got your air test and your water test. When you get all these figures, you've got a much better picture of how your door system is performing. Because not looking around today, not everyone's going to have their weather tests on them, so there's a few things that you can have a look for to see how weather-tight the door systems are going to be. Double rebated tracks is a good way. So where the doors close tight against the top and bottom tracks, is there a double rebate there to make a nice tight seal? And also the gasket, the bit of rubber that puts the doors together, makes the tight seal. Is that continuous behind the hinge on folding doors? This would be mainly. Or does it stop at the hinge and then there's nothing behind the hinge and then it starts again? So is the hinge going to be a weak spot? Also, regarding that gasket, what is it actually made of? Is it made of foam covered with nylon to give you a nice colour choice? Or is it made from long-lasting rubber to give you a long-lasting weather-tight seal? And if you do get the chance today, while you're looking around, again for folding doors mainly, you can, it's a bit more fun than talking about pastels. If you get a single sheet of paper, open the folding doors, and close the folding doors with a piece of paper stuck in between the panels, and then just see how easily you can pull that piece of paper through the door system. So that way, it's a bit more fun, and you can see, might not be the most scientific way, but you can see how weather-tight that compression seal is between the door systems. So, what material to have for your doors? There's three main types that people choose from. Firstly, you've got your UPVC plastic doors, and this is generally going to be your entry level price-wise. So, if you're on a budget and that's what you can afford, then that's absolutely fine. Very commonplace, very modern systems of UPVC. Just bear in mind that UPVC is not as strong a material, so there's a lot of movement with UPVC, so generally it's going to be bigger sight lines as well, and you can't recycle UPVC, so it's not the most environmentally friendly option. Secondly, you've got aluminium. Now aluminium is a very strong, stable material, so this is traditionally the one that's going to give you the slimmest sight lines, so slimmer face on, slimmer front to back as well, and it's stable, so you're not going to get the movement in the heat extremes on aluminium. It does conduct heat, which means you have to have a thermal break in the aluminium for your doors going to the outside of the property. And to look for a good sized thermal break. So thermal breaks can go anywhere from 16mm up to about 44mm for an aluminium door system. So find out what size thermal break is, and that gives you a good indication of how thermally performant that door system is. And thirdly, timber. Timber can be very nice, can be in keeping with your internal flooring, in keeping with the decor of the property, or in keeping with planning authorities saying you've got to have timber. Traditionally the downsides of timber are it's got to be a larger section to prevent any of the movement of the door system. You certainly need to bear in mind the maintenance side with timber. Aluminium very maintenance free, but with timber, depending on how exposed you are, it can depend on what stain you go for as well on the timber doors. You'd have to reapply that stain. So certainly on the outside, sand it down, reapply the stain on the outside of the door. So certainly something to bear in mind if you're going for timber doors. There is, however, another material which is getting more popular year on year, which is called composite, or timber-clad aluminium, or aluminium-clad timber. So you can have your timber on the inside, to be in keeping with your furniture, and on the outside, you've got aluminium. So you've got your maintenance-free, best of both worlds with this particular material. There's two different types of door system offer this. You've got an aluminium door system, which has then got timber clad on the inside, or you've got a timber door system with aluminium clad on the inside. So if it's an aluminium door, then because aluminium is so stable, it can be a slimmer section than the timber version with the aluminium clad on the outside. With all of these materials, there could be choices of top or bottom running. So that basically means, where is the weight going to be on the door systems? Is it going to be at the bottom? Is it going to be at the top? Now, I've sold the system for many years, and I've sold top and bottom running, and we've certainly found that bottom running is your maintenance-free option. With that, you can accept more tolerance at the top beam, so you're not going to get a tight spot when you open the doors, even if the lintel does sag 4 or 5mm in the middle. The only thing to bear in mind with bottom running is make sure that it doesn't run right on the bottom of the track. Make sure there's a bit of clearance there for a little bit of debris build-up, so you haven't got to hoover it out every day, and so the runners can go on the sides of the track rather than running straight on the actual bottom. So, choosing a door system or what company to go for, some companies tell you up front, this is such and such as door system that we sell. Other companies brand the door system as their own. Perfectly fine. There's not many companies that do their own folding and sliding door system. They brand it as their own, so it's easier to market it, it's an easier message to give to the customer, perfectly fine and commonplace. But I would certainly recommend finding out what door system you are actually buying. Ask them whose system actually is it. It's important to know whose system it is, and also it allows you to do your own research. And then once you've found out what door system it is, find out how long they've been using that particular system supplier. So have they got a good relationship with that system supplier, and also have they got good experience installing that particular door. So when you do choose a supplier, one bit of peace of mind for handing over all the money is you could do a credit check on that particular company. Usually costs you a few pounds to do that. But if you're cheeky enough and you want to save a few pounds, you could always ask the company you're buying from to send you a copy of their credit report. So it saves you a few pounds, you find out all the information you need to know, and also it tells you how long that company's been in trading. So it certainly gives you a bit of peace of mind that way. When to install door systems. Now, it might seem the right order to do things is once your opening's been created, get the doors in there as quick as possible because you've got the property sealed up then all the work can start to begin. But I would recommend getting the doors as one of the last things that goes into your project. So, ideally, you create your opening, get your doors on order. Once you've got the opening there, get them surveyed, order the doors, then board up that opening so the building is sealed, then you can get a lot of your building work done. If you think of the new door system you're having as a new car, it might be about the same sort of price, and you certainly wouldn't put your car on a building site. So try not to resist the urge to seal up your property using the door systems. Remember, it's a door, so tradesmen are going to use that door system, carrying items, wheelbarrows. Concrete dust could affect powder-coated aluminium and other surfaces as well that can be baked on and ruin your doors forever. So I've heard many horror stories about doors being installed too early. So certainly there could be a couple of things you could do afterwards, plastering up to the doors, the last bit of plastering, and certainly the last level of flooring on the inside. So you've got your concrete screening done, but the last layer of timber flooring, carpet, whatever you're putting down, tiles, leave that until after the doors are in, because you've got your nice dead level track that your door specialist has installed dead level, and that gives you a nice little guide to finish your last level of flooring up. So there's a couple of things that you can do afterwards, but I'd certainly recommend one of the last things to go in. So a few things about folding doors specifically. One of the big questions that a lot of people agonise over is, should I have my folding doors stacking to the inside of the property or should I have them stacking to the outside? So a few things to consider. Well, firstly, most of the orders that I see, probably 90% of them are stacking to the outside, because it's where you've got the most room. Most people have got the most room on the outside and they don't want to have to leave that area clear on the inside. The track detail can be a lot neater usually if the doors are opening to the outside. And also think about a nice summer's morning. You want to open your doors up to bring the outside in, but there's a bit of dew on the outside of the glass, or it's been raining recently, and you don't really want to bring the outside glass to the inside of your property where that might drip over your floor. So it's a lot to be said for keeping all the outside elements to the outside and stacking the doors on the outside. And then when they are stacked on the outside, wind certainly shouldn't be an issue to close the doors. Many companies now have a clip in the top track, so when you push your doors open, they clip into place, so you get a nice tight seal. Another question which a lot of people are worried about is, are they finger safe? There's a lot of movements with folding doors, but I wouldn't say there's too much concern really, because most door systems have gasket on both sides of the doors. So when they close together, it's gasket against gasket. So that's going to make them safer than any internal door system in the house, which is wood against wood, with no warning at all. And just look for the door system you're buying, is it a flat section against a flat section of gasket, or is it rebated in to make that tight seal? So if finger safe is a concern for you, just see if they're rebated in rather than flat sections coated by the gasket. Many people want a single access door with folding doors, and the rule is, as far as I'm aware, with every single folding door system, if you want a single door, it has to be an odd number going in one direction, and then the first of this odd number acts as a single access door. And that single access door will swing open 180 degrees, you stand inside, throw the door open, that'll clip back, and then you can start folding the doors up as you wish from then. So just bear in mind, so nice configurations you can have there would be a 3 and a 3 design, so then the centre of doors are French doors, so you get a very nice design that way. I've been selling a German engineered system. It's been sold worldwide for 25 years, and like I said, I've been selling it for 10 years. In our experience, the maximum panel size you can have really depends on who's going to be using it. So we've generally found out that about 900mm to a metre wide is a good sized door panel to operate. It works well. We can do up to 1.2 metres wide, but just consider where is it going and who's going to be using it. So if you're pushing the extremes of any system, if you're using that to go into a holiday home, it might not be suitable. However, if you're using that in the back of your own home, then that's just you and your close family using it, then it's not an issue to maximise the door system. There's 2 track options usually when choosing a folding door. You've got a weather track. This is the one the weather tests are all been based on. The weather track traditionally is going to have 2 points to close tight against, so you can finish it flush on the inside and then have a step down on the outside, so you get a really weather tight seal. The other alternative is usually a flush track, which is a lovely detail to have, and you could have going out to a nice patio area. It's a lovely detail, but please bear in mind that if you do a flush track, it's going to reduce the weather rating of the door system. So if you're exposed in any way, which means you get driving wind and rain against the doors, then just bear in mind that it's not going to give you the weather tight seals, and that's not the one that everything's been based upon. So security of the doors. One way to look for good security is Secure by Design. Secure by Design is a UK membership scheme that companies can sign up to, and that's one indication of how secure the doors are. But please bear in mind, a lot of these folding door system suppliers are sold internationally. So not every company has started getting involved in Secure by Design. So just because they're not Secure by Design doesn't necessarily mean it's bad security. It just means they haven't signed up to the UK membership scheme. So look out for those double rebated tracks, and which get a good weather tight seal and good security as well for the door systems. So sliding doors. Sliding doors can go from one panel, just sliding on an extended track, up to 8 panels. So you've got a massive opening of the door systems. So it's very versatile. With sliding doors, because it's a multi-track system, if you want that lovely flush track detail, but you don't want the reduction or compromising the weather rating, then sliding doors can be good. The track can be recessed in, and you get a nice level access between the inside and the outside. So if you did want that, then sliding doors can be excellent to have that. And important things to bear in mind with sliding doors is make sure you use the particular sliding door system you're going to buy, because there's some sliding door systems which have incredibly slim sight lines, but then there's compromise on where the handle or where the locking system is going to be. So that could be down at the base, or it might not be easy to use on the side. So make sure you're just aware, rather than just the sight line, find out how practical the doors are, how often we're going to be using these doors, where do I want my handle and locking system to be. It's certainly something to bear in mind with those. So folding and sliding doors, to let you know what different options you can have with those. Each of those can come with moving corner posts. So if you're lucky enough to be able to either cantilever the steel work to have a nice clear open corner, or to have an internal pillar, then these systems can meet at the corner and create a clear open corner. So you get a nice open and a nice unique look to your property. Sliding door systems, you can have a sliding door system going on extended tracks as well with this. So with the compromise of having sliding doors is usually they don't open as much as folding doors, but the compromise, if you do have the possibility of going on the extended track, then you've got no compromise again if you're going for the sliding door systems. With folding doors as well, you can have a nice faceted design. So when the doors are closed, they're at a slight angle, so you can have a nice facet look between each door system. So it certainly gives a nice unique look to your property. So probably the best advice I can give you is, it's probably why you're here today, is go and use the door system that you're actually going to buy, and then bearing in mind everything I've said about the tests, after that, just buy the one that you like the best. Excellent. Any questions? What type of glass? Yeah, there's a few different types of glass you can have in the door systems, and it depends where you're situated. Well, firstly, double or triple glazing. If obviously triple glazing is one of the big things. Just bear in mind with triple glazing, that increases the weight of the door system, so that might reduce the actual size of the panel you can have. So just, rather than instantly going for triple glazing and thinking that's the best thing, find out what centre plane the triple glazing is going to give you, rather than just upgrading the coating of double glazing. So you can upgrade the coating of double glazing and get a very good U value using some good glass without going to the extra weight of triple glazing, and you can still have your nice big wide panels. So that's one thing, triple glazing could be good. Also, if sound insulation is important for you, you should have different thicknesses on both sides of the glass. You have 6mm on the outside pane, 4mm on the inside pane, and because it's different thicknesses, then more sound level is reduced. And if you're south facing or you get a lot of heat build-up, you can have solar control glazing, which reflects the heat outside, or certainly a good percentage of the heat gets reflected. But bear in mind how much of a concern that is for you, because these days, these types of months, you might want that heat to come into the building, so, and you'll not be getting that benefit in the colder months of the heat build-up if you go for solar control glass. So please bear that in mind when going for that. Any other questions? Blinds, yes. Venetian blinds inside the glass, that is more of a folding door thing than sliding doors, because as far as I'm aware it's about 1.2 metres wide you can have with internal Venetian blinds, and then you have to think about what height the blinds are going to be as well, so they could be up to about 2.5 metres I believe Venetian blinds can be inside the glass. Another alternative if you're going for sliding doors and very big panels is roller blinds. So you can get some nice remote control roller blinds which go above the actual door system itself, and then they can remote control them, and then one big sheet comes down. You can box the control in at the top so it looks like it's coming out the ceiling. And for sliding doors you could have one blind for every door system, so you could open it up one at a time for the door that's opening. So yeah, there's a few different options there you can have with the blinds. Any other questions?
The internal blind systems, how reliable are they?
How reliable was that?
Yeah, because if they break, you've got to replace the panel, haven't you?
Yes, indeed, yeah. So that'll be the last question. Yeah, very reliable with the door systems. As far as I'm aware, a lot of the folding and sliding door companies use the same manufacturer of blind system, and we ourselves have used them for about 8 or 9 years now, and we have to give a guarantee, and they're fitted all over the UK. So, but having said that, traditionally it's a 10-year guarantee on the glass. As far as I'm aware, it's a 5-year guarantee on the blind, when you've got glass with blinds inside them. But usually, if that unit does break down, the blind manufacturer will be able to split the unit, reuse the blinds, so then it's just the glass that you actually have to end up paying for. But if the blinds are problematic, you wouldn't see blind systems in as many door systems as there are here. So we do have a lot of confidence in it, yes. And if anyone's got any more questions, I'm just going to be here, and we're also available on the IDSystems show stand if anyone wants to catch up with me or any one of my colleagues later on. Thank you.